Taiwan is facing China's threat on several fronts. Off its shores, up in the air at the World Health Organization, and now the battle has moved to social media. China's fake news factory is chugging out a lot of smoke in and around Taiwan. But Taiwan is using humor to bust these Chinese rumors. The wise use of technology has turned Taiwan's pandemic playbook into the envy of the world. How did they do it? Joining us on Gravitas tonight is Taiwan's digital minister, Audrey Tang, a software programmer turned cabinet member and the world's first transgender minister. Audrey Tang, welcome to WION.
Hello.
A story in Wired describes how you, and I'm quoting from what they said, hacked the pandemic by building technology tools to support the fight against the Wuhan virus. Professional comedians, I'm told, were hired to bust fake news, and Taiwan remains one of the success stories of this pandemic. What did Taiwan do differently, and what role did technology play in this fight?
So first of all, I think we trusted the citizens. That is the most important part. And then comes the technology, including, of course, soap, most important technology, and also medical mask. I think there's three pillars for deployment of social innovation, and that's fast, fair, and fun. The fast part ensures that whenever there's anything that's learned from the collective intelligence, for example, on PTT, our equivalent of Reddit, last December, when Dr. Li Wenliang, the whistleblower from the PRC, posted out there, and I quote, 7 new SARS cases in the Wuhan seafood market, unquote, it got reposted immediately and escalated into our medical offices because people upvoted it. And the very next day, starting January the 1st, we started health inspections from flights from Wuhan to Taiwan. So that's really fast. The fun part is a spokesdog of the CECC that translates all the interesting ideas about, for example, wearing a mask into cute dog pictures. And so that people understand, like, for example, wearing a mask is not just to protect others, but protect oneself, so that one will not be, for example, touching one's own face with unwashed hands. And that's not very easy to remember. So the spokesdog, or Zongchai from the CECC, posted this so that everybody can see this spokesdog and putting hands to their mouth and say that wear a mask to protect you from your own unwashed hands. And then, for example, on physical distancing, we would say when you're indoor, please keep 3 dogs away from each other, and outdoor, keep 2 dogs or Shiba Inu away from one another. And so this makes sure that this is trendy meme spreads faster than rumor and disinformation. And finally, the fair part in fast, fair, and fun ensures that everybody who want to, for example, get a medical mask can very easily do so and collect it in their nearby pharmacies.
There are a number of lessons that, of course, the world can take from Taiwan, but Taiwan has been denied a voice at the World Health Organization. Taiwan tried to get an observer status, but the move was postponed. How can you export or share the Taiwan model to fight the Wuhan virus without being part of the WHO?
So right before the World Health Assembly, we had our own digital pre-WHA assembly that we shared this playbook or so-called Taiwan model, which you can read about in Taiwan-Can-Help.us. It's a website built by the civil society with pretty much everybody. And so all the 14 different jurisdictions, including the United States, with Secretary Azar, who are very interested in the Taiwan model, just started working with us on a bilateral epicenter-to-epicenter basis. Well, he just recently visited Taiwan. So I'm sure that even without the ministerial access provided by the WHO, which we were denied, we can make our own ministerial conversation ground using digital technology. And WHO, of course, still allows Taiwan some sort of very limited scientific access, but unless you're a country where the vice president is both the top epidemiologist and also the political authority, like in the case of Taiwan with VP Chen Jianren, having scientific access is not the same as having ministerial access, of course.
China has also become more aggressive in the region. Military action has been stepped up. There is a standoff with India as well. As a minister in the Taiwanese cabinet, how do you assess the threat posed by China to its neighbors?
we do see, for example, the political warfare unit, and for example, the Zhongyang Zhengfa, the Central Political and Law Unit, posting obviously untrue disinformation in the Taiwanese social media. I guess that counts as something that you're asking about, and that happens to overlap with my portfolio. I don't talk about things outside my portfolio. And so, for example, before our election last November, there was a, and I quote, Hong Kong thugs compensation exposed. Killing a police earns you up to 20 million, unquote. This piece of disinformation being spread with a scary looking photo. And the photo was real. It was a Reuters photo, but the Reuters report says nothing about killing police or being paid for it. It just says that there are young protesters in the Hong Kong anti-ELAP protests. Because in Taiwan, we don't do administrative takedown. We only do notice and public notice. So according to the Taiwan Fact Check Center, a member of the International Fact Check Network, we looked into what caused this new caption to form, like this 13 years old is being paid and so on. Reusing the same photo, we trace it back, as I mentioned, to the Zhongyang Zhengfa, to the essentially the political propaganda unit. And so instead of taking it down, we just made sure that everybody in Taiwan on the social media, when they're sharing this photo, understand that if they see the caption on the other side, this is actually sponsored, made as a disinformation by somebody from Beijing. And that's the kind of work that we do both before the election and also during the pandemic.
What do you make of India's decision to ban Chinese apps?
Well, I'm aware that people are looking at it not only as a cybersecurity issue, but also as a privacy issue. And although the cybersecurity issue, of course, are on people's minds, for example, people would not want their phones to become botnets and so on, the privacy issue is actually the most important one to me. And to this end, in Taiwan, we're also working on the fundamental acts of an independent data protection authority, which we hope to pass sometime soon in the next session or the next one. And once we do that, we are also looking into the privacy assessments of not only the domestic software, but also the non-domestic software as well. So I think we have a lot to learn from India of how to do such assessments to our hopefully soon to be founded Data Protection Authority.
Since you want to only talk about technology, you've said that you believe that technology can strengthen democracies, but around the world we're witnessing how technology is causing more disruption. Fake news is influencing elections, social media is driving up hate. What are some of the threats that technology poses today, and what can governments do to handle these challenges?
Yeah, this is a really good question, and thank you for sticking to the technology realm. And I would say two things. First, that the social media does not have to be antisocial. We built many social media programs like join.gov.tw or vTaiwan that only makes sure that people can ideate, brainstorm, upvote, and downvote. But because there's no reply button, there really is no way for trolls to grow. And so not all social media need to be antisocial. Some could be pro-social. That's my first observation. The next observation is that even on Facebook and Twitter and so on, still outrage or the kind of divisiveness is not the only story. We still see, I don't know, cute cats and dogs and things like that that travels with a higher R value. That is to say, by default, more people will share it per hour as compared to conspiracy theories or things that travels outrage. And indeed, the humor over rumor counter-disinformation playbook from Taiwan banks on this idea, so that our real-time clarifications are so funny that people will laugh about it and share it. And once you laugh about something, really there is no room for outrage.
Very well said, Audrey Tang, and I'm sure most of us can take notes here. And it was a pleasure talking to you, even though you did not answer anything beyond the realm of technology. Good to have you on WION.
Yeah, thank you. Live long and prosper.